So how bad are things for Trump? Well, how about this? 73% of Americans think he is as advertised. A pompous pig, a convicted felon, and a cheating, lying grifter attacking our democracy. For starters.
You said this was all a hoax. Has your attorney general told you this was a hoax? What evidence have you seen?
No, it's not the attorney general. No, I know it's a hoax. It's started by Democrats.
And now the numbers are backing it all up. Trump's approval rating is dropping, which is good and bad news. The good news is Trump's relationship with Jeffrey Epstein and 13-year-old girls has Americans creeped out. The bad news is 37% still support him.
Some of the most successful 6 months any president has ever seen. But what do the voters think about that and his job in general? CNN chief data analyst Harry Enton is here. So the president says things are great. What do the voters say?
No, I think is the answer. 6 months in, the rules of political gravity absolutely apply to Donald Trump, and the USS Donald Trump is taking on a lot of water. What are we talking about? Trump's net approval rating. Look, he started off back in January +6 points on the net approval rating, -3 in March, -7 in May, and now he's at a term too low at -11 points. His net approval rating has dropped nearly 20 points in the aggregate since the beginning of his presidency. The American people do not like what they're seeing, and Donald Trump's administration is in a ton of trouble at this point in the minds of the American voters.
Well, the minds of American voters. Now, there's an oxymoron, an American voter and a mind. But it makes sense if you flip that around. 37% approval means 73% not approving. So you need to ask why, and of course, who do you ask?
On what issues do the American voters seem to disapprove of him?
They disapprove of him on all of the issues. He's underwater on all the major issues of the day. Trump's net approval rating on all the major issues, -5 points on immigration, his best issue. He's underwater. How about the economy? That was what he was elected for. -14 points. How about foreign policy? -14 points. How about trade and those tariff wars? -15 points. And of course, the Epstein case, the lowest of the bunch, -37 points, 37 points below water. My goodness gracious. On every single issue, Donald Trump is below water on all the major ones. They're all dragging him down. No matter, it seems, what Donald Trump does, the American people do not like it.
Now look at this picture. Immigration, where Trump is deporting and jailing U.S. citizens. The economy, which is tariffs and deportations are leading towards record inflation. Foreign policy, bombing Iran and lying about the results. Trade, lying about the tariffs. And of course, Epstein, which to me is the most outrageous, and I hope for you too. By that I mean Trump was good friends with a man who raped girls on his island that Trump visited at least 7 times and lied about it.
Yeah, the FBI, they're reviewing, there are tens of thousands of videos of Epstein with children or child porn. And there are hundreds of victims.
And a woman who was 13 at the time testified that Trump raped her there, and the man who could bring Trump down dies under mysterious circumstances. And now Trump won't allow for the full release of the files surrounding the investigation. How can anyone still support him? So 6 months into his second term, Trump's job approval rating is the lowest of this term and just slightly higher than his all-time worst rating of 34% at the end of his first term. Trump's rating has fallen 10 percentage points among U.S. adults since he began his second term back in January, including a 17-point decline among independents, down to 29%, matching his lowest rating with that group in either of his terms. And remember this, 100 million eligible voters didn't vote in 2024, and 87% said they opposed Trump. And this is important. For their part, Republicans' ratings have remained generally steady, causing one to speculate, why would I want Trump to campaign for me?
And that is why at this particular point, he's at a term too low.
It's interesting because this is the issue that may be on the top of many people's minds as members of Congress head home for this extended summer recess.
And it's his worst one.
I'm not sure that House members will be excited to see that number as they leave Washington today. So where does his overall approval rating stand compared to other presidents?
Okay, I do have one piece of good news for Donald Trump, and that there is one other presidency that has a lower net approval rating at this point than this one. The bad news is that it was Donald Trump's other presidency, his first presidency, net approval rating 6 months in. The worst was in 2017. Donald Trump was 16 points underwater. The second worst, however, is this Donald Trump presidency, 11 points underwater. The average president at this point since 1953 has a +27 net approval rating. John, do some quick math with me. It seems to me that Donald Trump is about 40 points lower than the average president at this particular point. He has the second worst net approval rating at this point. He is underwater on all the major issues of the day. The bottom line is 6 months into this administration, I think that most Americans would apply the word or words disaster, terrible, awful, horrible.
There's a lot to ponder there. The midterms are about 15 months away, and Republicans have to make a decision. Will Trump's base support him after all these disastrous numbers? Trump, for example, isn't backing down on tariffs, which no one that doesn't have their nose up his ass agrees with. He's still deporting U.S. citizens and is still attempting to deport people who were born in the U.S. whose parents weren't citizens, which of course means that Barron might have to leave the country since this witch was still a Slavonian. And Trump is still threatening Obama, forcing Tulsi Gabbard,
the worst cabinet appointment in recent American history,
his director of national intelligence, to call for his arrest for investigating the Russian-hacked 2016 election.
The Russian government directed the recent compromises of emails from U.S. persons and institutions, including from U.S. political organizations.
A fact backed up by every intelligence agency under Trump's executive branch. But the real freak show is Epstein. While Trump panics, he's assisted by Altar Boy Johnson, who shut down the House for vacation before Democrats, and yes, some Republicans, could demand the release of the Epstein files.
But I will tell you this, we better be united, we better be strong, we better be focused, we better be articulate. We can't waste our time on Epstein and other stuff.
But now Pam Bondi is rumored to have told Trump that not only is there a list,
It's sitting on my desk.
but that list contains Donald J. Trump's name. So here's the problem for Trump and Republicans in the midterms. First of all, Trump is manhandling the DOJ, which for about a century maintained independence from presidential interference. But Trump could give a shit about precedent or history. Trump appointed Pam Bondi after she, as Florida's Attorney General, refused to investigate allegations of fraud at Trump University after Trump donated $25,000 to her campaign.
It's sitting on my desk.
And yeah, he might be regretting that.
I'd shut down the FBI Hoover building on day one and reopening it the next day as a museum of the deep state. And I'd take the 7,000 employees that work in that building and send them across America to chase down criminals. Go be cops.
And then there's Kash Patel, who instructed FBI agents going through the Epstein files to flag any mention of Trump.
We're going to come after the people in the media who lied about American citizens, who helped Joe Biden rig presidential elections. We're going to come after you. Whether it's criminally or civilly, we'll figure that out. But yeah, we're putting you all on notice.
And Republicans in Congress, who obviously care more about holding on to power than young children being sexually assaulted.
Mr. President, this is nothing but political theater. It's so obvious that the Democrats are just using this for a political football.
For what she, Jeffrey, and all the co-conspirators did to me, I was raped repeatedly. I was raped 3 times a day.
But the real question here is, which one of these MAGA voters represent the future? This guy?
You know what? So what if he wants to grab pussy? I want to grab pussy.
Or this guy?
And this is the first topic that all of us as Americans, not as Democrats, not as liberals, not as Republicans, are actually lining together and saying we all want the Epstein files.
The last 24 hours have been tough for Tiny Fingers as South Park unleashed a shitload of mocking satire right in his lap. And anyone who knows Trump for any amount of time knows this: Trump can't take a joke. The question is, will MAGA stop voting for one?
Come on, guys, we're South Park.
It's sitting on my desk.
Trump admitted he knew Epstein for 15 years.
Goddamn right.
Do you have no shame?
They don't know what the fuck they're doing.
I don't want to talk about this stuff.
Am I wrong?
Yeah.
Tick-tock.
You're in a lot of trouble, Donnie.
I think he's crazy.
I'm Chip Franklin.